What if you could retire early, but still be unable to access enough of your own money? Many Americans think putting more money into a Roth IRA automatically means they're prepared for early retirement, but that's not the whole story. The real problem is when your money becomes accessible, not just how much you have. Welcome to American Dream Finance. In this video, we'll break down the Roth retirement trap, how to build a retirement bridge, and what you can do today to avoid a costly mistake. And stay to the end, because the biggest lesson is simple. Wealth isn't enough. You need access to it when you need it. One of the biggest lessons I took from studying money is that having a retirement account is not the same as having accessible money. And this is where a lot of Americans get confused about the Roth IRA. You hear that Roth money can grow tax-free. You hear that qualified withdrawals can come out tax-free. So it is easy to think, if I want to retire early, I should put as much money as possible into Roth accounts. That sounds reasonable, but there is a problem. Your retirement age matters as much as your retirement balance. Imagine someone in their 40s or 50s who wants to leave work early. They have built a large Roth balance, but most of their plan assumes they will wait until traditional retirement age to access the money. That can create a cash flow gap. And I want to correct something important from the original explanation. Saying that Roth money is simply locked until 59 and a half is not accurate. A Roth IRA is more flexible than that. Your regular Roth IRA contributions can generally be withdrawn tax and penalty-free because you already paid tax on that money. But the rules for investment earnings are different. A qualified distribution generally requires the 5-year rule plus qualifying condition, such as reaching age 59 and a half. Conversions have their own rules too. A Roth conversion can create a separate 5-year period for determining whether the converted amount may face the 10% additional tax if withdrawn early. So the real problem isn't that Roth is bad. The problem is building an early retirement plan around only one type of account. For example, suppose you're 50 and want to stop working at 55. You might have $700,000 in retirement accounts and feel financially secure, but ask yourself a different question. How am I going to pay my bills between 55 and 59 and a half? That question changes everything. Your mortgage, groceries, insurance, property taxes, healthcare, and everyday expenses don't wait until you're 59 and a half. That's why the biggest lesson isn't avoid Roth. It's this: don't confuse long-term wealth with short-term access to cash. And this is one of the most useful ideas I've found across all those money books. The account where your money sits matters almost as much as how much money you have. In 2026, the IRA contribution limit is $7,500 or $8,600 for people age 50 or older. The employee contribution limit for a 401k is $24,500, with additional catch-up rules for older workers. Those limits can help you build serious wealth, but if early retirement is your goal, you also need to think about when that wealth becomes usable. That's the mistake I want you to avoid. The solution is not to stop using a Roth IRA. The solution is to build a retirement plan around access, taxes, and timing, not just the size of your portfolio. If you're an American planning to retire early, think about creating different pools of money for different stages of retirement. First, you have your taxable brokerage account. This can become your bridge money. You can invest it for the long term, but unlike a retirement account, it doesn't have the same age-based withdrawal restrictions. You can sell investments when you need cash, although taxes can apply to investment gains. Second, you have your traditional 401k or IRA. This money can provide another source of retirement income, but withdrawals are generally taxable, and taking money out before 59 and a half can trigger an additional 10% tax unless an exception applies. One important exception is the rule of 55 for certain 401k withdrawals after separating from service during or after the year you turn 55. The rules are specific, so don't assume every retirement account qualifies. IRS.gov. Then you have your Roth accounts. These can become extremely valuable later because qualified Roth IRA distributions are tax-free, and Roth IRAs don't have required minimum distributions during the original owner's lifetime. IRS.gov. Now you have something much more powerful than simply saying, "I have $1 million. You have a retirement income strategy. Let's say you're 52 and want to retire at 55. Instead of putting every available dollar into retirement accounts and hoping you'll figure out the access problem later, you could build a taxable investment account specifically for the years before your retirement accounts become easier to access. You could also explore strategies such as Roth conversions where appropriate. A Roth conversion doesn't magically make traditional retirement money immediately tax-free. The converted amount is generally included in taxable income for the year of conversion, and the timing rules need to be planned carefully. That's why a Roth conversion ladder can be useful for some early retirees. You gradually convert portions of traditional retirement money into a Roth IRA during lower income years. Each conversion has its own 5-year considerations for early withdrawals. But here's the part I think many people miss. You don't need to choose one account and put everything there. Your goal is to create flexibility. Think of it like this. Taxable money equals flexibility. Traditional retirement money equals future tax-deferred income. Roth money equals long-term tax-free potential. And there is another important correction to the original idea. You don't necessarily need to wait until 59 and a half to use every dollar inside your retirement accounts. There are exceptions and strategies that can provide earlier access, including certain substantially equal periodic payments and specific employer plan rules. The point isn't to memorize every exception. The point is to design your plan before you retire. If you wait until the day you leave your job to figure out how you'll access your money, you've waited too long. The best retirement plan answers 3 questions. How much money do I have? How much will I need each year? And most importantly, which account will pay the bill at each stage of retirement? That is the difference between simply saving for retirement and actually planning for it. So here's what I would do today if early retirement is one of your goals. Take a piece of paper and write down your target retirement age. Not 65 because that's what everyone else says. Pick the age you actually want. Then write down the age when you expect to start using Social Security, if applicable, and the age when you expect your retirement accounts to become easier to access. Now calculate the gap. If you want to retire at 55, you need a plan for the years before 59 and a half. If you want to retire at 50, the gap is much larger. That gap needs a funding strategy. Next, look at where your money currently sits. How much is in your 401k? How much is in your Roth IRA? How much is in a taxable brokerage account? And how much cash do you have available for emergencies? Don't just look at the total number. Look at the accessibility of the money. Then estimate your basic annual expenses. If you think you'll need $50,000 a year after leaving work, don't simply ask whether you have enough invested. Ask, where will my first $50,000 come from? That one question can expose problems in your retirement plan years before you actually retire. And here's the biggest lesson from this entire section. Don't build a retirement portfolio. Build a retirement bridge. Your Roth IRA can be an important part of that bridge, but it shouldn't automatically be the entire bridge. The goal isn't to avoid taxes at all costs. The goal is to create enough flexibility to control when and how you pay taxes, while giving yourself access to money when you actually need it. So before you make another retirement contribution, spend 10 minutes mapping your accounts by age. What pays for 55? What pays for 60? What pays for 65? And what money's reserved for later? Once you can answer those questions, your retirement plan becomes much more than a number on a statement. it becomes a strategy. The real money lesson is simple. Getting rich is not only about building wealth, it's about building wealth you can actually use when you need it.